משנתנו מוסיפה לעסוק בדין מלאכה בערב שבת. Our Mishnah is continue to deal with work, Erev Pesach, on the 14th of Nisan. We said it depends on the custom. So if the custom is not to work from the morning, you don't work from the morning. And if the custom is not to work from midday, you don't work from midday. Depends on the city you live in. So Rabbi Meir is going to give, say that everything in Judaism is correct except when the exception comes. So now we're going to see the exceptions. Rabbi Meir says, כל מלאכה שהתחיל בה קודם ל-14 בניסן, it says if you already started the job before the 14th of Nisan, let's say you were a shoe cobbler and you started working on the shoes on the 12th of Nisan, and it's a 3-day job, for example, גומרה ב-14, it says you are allowed to finish it on the 14th. When nobody is working, let's say it's a 6 hours in the morning, that in your town they don't work at the morning, it says you're allowed to work in the morning because you're finishing a job. Doesn't make sense so much. We'll continue. מותר לגמור אותה ב-14 עד חצות. It says even though in your town they don't work in the morning, you're allowed to do this job until midday. אפילו במקום שנהגו שלא לעשות מלאכה ב-14 כל עיקר. Even if your town don't do any job from the morning. But it says it's not any kind of job. Which kind of job you're allowed to do? דווקא מלאכה שהיא לצורך המועד. Only a type of work that is necessity for the moed. אבל מלאכה שאינה לצורך המועד, but if you don't need the tool for the holiday itself, במקום שנהגו לעשות מלאכה עד חצות עושים, if at your city they do work until midday, then you're allowed to, but if they don't, then you're not allowed to. ומקום שנהגו שלא לעשות, in a place that they made, that the custom is not to do, אף על פי שהתחיל בה קודם 14, even though you started before the 14th, אינה גומרה, you don't finish it. אבל לא יתחיל בה בתחילה ב-14. So it is, so even though you're allowed to work in the morning when nobody else is working, you're not allowed to start this kind of job on the 14th itself. Even if you have the time to finish it until midday, you still will not be allowed to. It's only if you started working on the project beforehand. אף על פי שיכול לגמרה, even though you can finish it, עד חצות היום, until the middle of the day. So this is according to Rabbi Meir.
What if the custom of the place that they do melacha in that day?
Then you don't have a problem at all. Then you can even start and finish. Yeah. וחכמים אומרים, and the sages come and say, שלוש אומניות עושים מלאכה בערבי פסחים עד חצות. The sage says you should know that there are 3 kinds of job that even if in your city nobody is working in between from the morning, these kinds of job you're allowed to do until midday. What are these jobs? מותר להם בכל מקום, they're allowed to do in these 3 kind of jobs in every place, אפילו להתחיל במלאכתם ב-14 בניסן, even to begin the job on the 14th of Nisan, ולגמור אותה עד חצות היום, and to finish it until midday. ומבואר הטעם בגמרא, the Gemara gives the reason what's so special about these specific jobs, לפי שמלאכות אלו חשובות ביותר לצורך המועד. Because we're going to see that these jobs are very important for the necessity of the holiday itself. והתירו אותם פעמים אפילו בחולו של מועד. And they're so important that even you're allowed to do these jobs on חול המועד itself. Yeah? חול המועד you're not allowed to do, you're not allowed to go to work, but these jobs you're allowed to do even on חול המועד. ואלו הן. So what jobs are we talking about? First job is החייטים, the tailors. Says, what's so special about a tailor? What's the difference between a tailor and anybody else? שהותרה מלאכתם בחולתו של מועד על ידי אידיוט. Because a tailor is allowed to do his job, even, not a tailor, sorry. A person is allowed to do a tailor's job on חול המועד. If something tore, you have a torn clothing, you're allowed to sew it.
But not the tailor himself, the guy that does the tailor.
That's right.
That's what
Yeah, you're right.
Or no?
But yeah. Since the person is allowed to sew on Chol HaMoed by himself, so they were makel on him, they were lenient on him on the day before Pesach. That's the, says since, that's the idea. Adam, even in Chol HaMoed, a regular person is allowed to do tailoring job. A person who's not, that is not his job. כמו ששנו, like we learned in מועד קטן, הדיוט תופר כדרכו. It says, a regular person who's a tailor is allowed to sew the way he sews. הילקח ב-14 בניסן, therefore on the 14th of Nisan, שקלו מחול המועד, it is less, it's more lenient than חול המועד, התירו אף לאומן. They permitted also to the Uman. הספרים והכובסים, also who is allowed to do jobs until midday, even in a town that people don't work, the barbers and the laundromats are allowed to work. Why? שכן, because we can see again another leniency of חול המועד, הבא ממדינת הים, that somebody comes from a ship and he sails into the port on חול המועד, והיוצא מבית האסורים, or somebody who comes out of jail on חול המועד, מותר להם להסתפר ולכבס בחולו של מועד. They're allowed to take a haircut and to wash their clothes on חול המועד itself. הילקח ב-14 בניסן, therefore they're going to say, we're not going to make the day before Pesach more severe than חול המועד itself, because חול המועד is more severe. הילקח ב-14 בניסן, therefore on the 14th of Nisan, התירו לכולם להסתפר ולכבס עד חצות היום. They permitted to everybody to go to the barber, to wash the clothes until midday, even in a place that there's no other jobs. Because on Chol HaMoed itself is more severe, and since on Chol HaMoed you're allowed to wash your clothing and take a haircut, therefore we're not going to make the 14th of Nisan more stricter than Chol HaMoed itself. Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda Omer, Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda says, Af haratz'anim. It says not only these guys that we discussed, the three, also ratz'anim. What's ratz'anim? Ratz'anim ha'osim na'alaim. People who make shoes. מותרים לעשות מלאכתם בערבי פסחים עד חצות. It says, Rabbi Yossi says they're also allowed to do their jobs, even in a place where nobody else does this job, until midday. Why? שכן התירו לעולי רגליים לתקן נעליהם בחולו של מועד. Because if you walk on חול המועד, on חול המועד itself, you're allowed to fix your shoes. הילקח בערב פסח עד חצות היום, מותר גם לרצנים לעשות נעליים חדשות. Therefore, cobblers are allowed to make new shoes until midday. ברם חכמים סוברים, but the sages disagree with Rabbi Yossi. They says, שאין למדים תחילת המלאכה מסוף המלאכה. It says, no, it's not the same. When you fix your shoes, you just fix it. Right. Over here, you give him a permission to make the whole shoe. That's not allowed. כלומר, שאם התירו בכל המועד לתקן עליהם, it says, we only give permission to fix the shoes של הרגליים. אין ללמוד מזה היתר לעשיית נעליים חדשות בערב פסח. Don't try to learn that the cobbler is allowed to make a new shoes over here. והלכה כחכמים. And the law is not going to be like the sages. ולא באו חכמים לחלוק על רבי מאיר, אלא להוסיף על דבריו. And the חכמים didn't come to disagree with Rabbi Meir, they come to add to his words. In other words, Chacham says about Rabbi Meir, we might agree, you can learn this Mishnah a little bit different. You can say that Chachamim agree with Rabbi Meir that the Ratz'anim, that the shoemaker are allowed to do something with shoes. But they only agree that they're allowed to fix the shoes and not to make shoes. That's another way to learn it, but I'm not sure if you want to learn it. Or some say not allowed to, even to fix it.
I would say logically, yeah, you can fix the shoes because the Ole Go, I was going to go to Yerushalayim.
Yeah, but then it's going
to a city.
Yeah, but if you start going this way, you can say that about any other melacha also.
But that's why we close, because connection to the holiday, connection to the Moed. You have to walk.
אסור מה?
מותר.
רק למי? רק למי מותר לכבס? שני אנשים. אסורים שיצאו מהכלא, ואלה שבאים מהספינה, לנמל. אוקיי. ביארנו משנתנו לפי רוב המפרשים. We explained this Mishnah according to majority of the commentaries. אבל הרמב"ם מפרש, the Rambam explains a little bit different, שמדובר במשנתנו דווקא במקום שנהגו לעשות מלאכה בערבי פסחים עד חצות. He's talking about specifically about places that you do work until midday. אבל במקום שנהגו שלא לעשות, but in a place that the custom is not to do, אף מלאכה שהתחיל בה קודם ל-14 עשו לגמרה ב-14. Even a job that you started before the 14th, you're not allowed to do it on the 14th. ואפילו במקום שנהגו לעשות, לא התירו לגמור ב-14 בניסר אלא מלאכה שיצורך מועד. And even then, the only way you're allowed to do it is not to make just, it's only something that you need for the purpose of the holiday. אבל שלא לצורך המועד, but if it's not for the purpose of the holiday, אף לגמור אסור, you're not even allowed to fix it. וכן אסור להתחיל במלאכה או 14 אף לצורך המועד. And he says you're not allowed to start any kind of work in the 14th, even for the purpose of the holiday itself. חוץ משלושה אומנים שמנים חכמים, except the three work that we discussed above, שהם מותרים אף להתחיל במלאכתם. They're allowed even to start. במקום שנהגו לעשות, but only in a place that's the custom that they're allowed to work. ועושים עד חצות היום, and they do until midday. Okay.
So הרצלים כנות, בחכמים, האלה של הנעליים, only the three. ספרים, קופסים and...
Yeah. You could learn Ratzanim. It depends how you learn Ratzanim. You can learn Ratzanim that when Chachamim are explaining Rabbi Meir and they're saying the Ratzan is not allowed to make new shoes, but he is allowed to fix the shoes. Depends how you want to learn the Mishnah.
Okay.